notice all the houses were built with columns. That's why they call it Coliseum, 1840s. Now across the traffic light, the second house on the right, you see this guy has pigs. Yeah, the second house on the right, you see pigs on the front porch of the statue. Just give you something to talk about. See on the right there. Now let me show you how close you can get to your neighbor without touching. I'll be on my right. These next two houses, drive slow enough. These next two houses, look between these next two houses on my right. Look at the balconies on the back to the right. To the right. How close to your neighbor? To the right back there. Close enough? Now if you're a good neighbor, you'll reach out and get your own cup of sugar, right? If you're not a good neighbor, they call that breaking and entering. There's a difference. Same thing I was saying here. This is area 1840s. You can change the inside but not the outside. I'm going to show you five houses built a little bit over a year ago. These houses are brand new, but they built to fit the neighborhood. I'm going to show you in a second. But it's five houses they built a little bit over a year ago. But they look like they've been here a long time, but they haven't. They're designed to fit the neighborhood. When I get to this next street, look down to my right. This first three houses on the right. A little bit over a year they built these houses. They're brand new. They look like they've been here a long time. All right, these two right here, the one, the dark columns and the light columns, these two next two houses, a little bit over a year. We just made them fit the neighborhood. Just the old neighborhood from here on. So next to my left, let's see a green and white building next to that church on my left. This green and white building once was an orphanage. It was an orphanage ran by a group of nuns called Little Sisters of the Poor. Sisters of the Poor got their finance, so they named Marguerite and Adair in the bakery. Back in 1853, 10,000 people died of yellow fever in 1853. Most of them that died was adults who lived in his office. On the left side of the bus. Yeah, green and white building next to the church on my left. That was an orphanage back in 1800. Ran by a group of nuns called Little Sisters of the Poor. Got their finance lady named Marguerite. When they talk about Marguerite, they call Marguerite a friend to the friendless, a mother to the motherless. And when she died, her funeral procession was 1.5 miles long. Look on the left. Here's a statue of Margaret on the left. She up front that's the office, that statue of it. Now this next part of town could over be called the Arts District. We're gonna find a museum in this part of town. You're gonna see on the right the National War Retreat Museum. You'll see the Contemporary Arts on the right. On the left, you're gonna see the Civil War Museum, Art Museum, and Southern Arts. This next part of town we call the Arts District. We'll find a museum there. Front door and the back door. Now we get back out to the main street and see these big mansions from the side. Same thing in this neighborhood. Whatever you build has to fit the neighborhood. Here's a new house they're working on to our right. So all of this is still Tremaine. Now look on the left. The outside columns on the bridge to my left. You notice that they got trees painted on the outside column of the bridge to my left. That's to try to remind people what the neighborhood looked like before they built this interstate after 1950. Before 1950, this interstate was a boulevard was lined up with these big live oak trees. There was a main boulevard where the free people color had their businesses back in the days. But it's trying to remind people what the neighborhood looked like before they built the interstate after 1950. So outside columns of the bridge on the left got trees painted on the outside column to remind people what the neighborhood looked like before they built this interstate. Still Tremaine. Like I said, once you go off the main street, the house will be smaller. This side of town is very popular during Jazz Fest because Jazz Fest is 2 consecutive weekends. It's always going to be the last week of April and the first week of May. Always the last week of April, the first week of May is Jazz Fest. The Jazz Fest is held called the Fairground. The Fairground is a horse racetrack. about a mile away from me. We're going to see it in a little while. Get more for Christmas. This house does all the decoration of the house is a bed and breakfast for them. So I just stay there for Jazz Fest because they can walk to Jazz Fest every day because it's only about a mile away from me. So next now on the left was a museum called the Edgar Degas House. Degas was a famous painter that lived in New Orleans for a little while. Converted the house into a museum. The second museum is a bed and breakfast. They also rent the space out between the museum for events out in the yard. So come next time on the left, these two White House with flags on them. It'll be your Degas Museum, Edgar Degas. Second floor, use a bed and breakfast. First floor is the museum. Live between the houses, have events out in the yard. This building on the corner to my left, that's a new museum they opened up last year, called the Free People Color Museum. Opened up last year. On your public schools on the left. Now we're going to leave Tremé. The next thing we're going to is called Bayou St. John. Bayou St. John. We're going to notice we're getting Bayou St. John. The houses are laid out in a very unique way. In Bayou St. John, you're sitting on your porch or your balcony, and there's a breeze coming off the lake. One neighbor does not block the next breeze off the lake. So I look on both sides of the street in a second, but the houses are slanted, where you're not blocking neighbor. Look down this first street to my left. See everything's on an angle? So you're sitting on your porch or balcony, and as a breeze come off the lake, one neighbor does not block the next neighbor. So look on both sides. So the house is set up. Sitting on your porch or balcony. As a breeze come off the lake, you're not blocking neighbor not blocking you. So kind of give you an idea that we were good neighbors before State Farm was. So next going to be our cemetery stop, which is St. Louis number 3. St. Louis number 3 is the largest of the Catholic cemeteries. The cemetery is 13 acres of land. New Orleans got a little bit over 40 cemeteries, a little bit over 40. We mainly buried above the ground because of the water. Back in the days, they buried coffins from the ground. When it rains a lot, those coffins will pop back up to the surface. So that's kind of how we start burying above the ground. Today, if you bury somebody on the ground, today you have to bury them called a vault. The vault is a concrete box you put in the ground first, and the coffin has to go inside the vault with a lid on top, keep them popping back up. Also, we're talking about the people dying from yellow fever. There's a law came called the Unity Rule, which means that if somebody's buried inside the family tomb, you can open up the tomb and bury the next person for at least 1 year and 1 day has to pass. After 1 year and 1 day, your body decomposes. The concern was that you open the tomb up less than 1 year and 1 day after somebody's buried inside, the yellow fever will spread. Today, the same rule applies today, but in my opinion, there's no new diseases that more to the cemetery making extra money. So if somebody died less than that 1 year, one is a temporary wall and make expensive money on for the 1 year and 1 day. I look down the street to my right, you'll see the fairgrounds, the horse race track, where the whole Jazz Fest is. Down to your right, right there. That's the horse track. Now, horse racing will start Thanksgiving Day until April. From Thanksgiving Day to April is the horse racing season.
Nothing matters, nothing venture, nothing gain. Such is life. Say life.
Keep in mind, this is a Catholic cemetery. At one time, the people those of the Catholic faith ones that did not cremate. So keep in mind, cremation was not an option back in the 1700s and 1800s.
With these memories, we love.
Watch your step getting up. Be very careful walking through the grass. A lot of times people walk their dog. Hey man, I clean up behind them, so watch yourself walk through the grass. And we're going to walk through the cemetery together as a group. We're going to get information, and then we're going to come back and take our break. When I get back on the bus. And look at all these bright colors supposed to make you feel happy and positive about such a bright color. So I call it the tree that happened August 29, 2005. The first four houses that finished here was in June 2006. On the left is a multi-purpose center. This was finished in 2011 on my left. On the right is a playground sponsored by New York Life Insurance. you know the playground equipment is
Badai
designed like
katanya,
musical
ini
instruments.
semuanya rata.
The sidewalk is piano keys.
Ini rumah baru. Setelah badai Katrina dibangun lagi atas nama orang tua dari pemerintahnya sendiri.
Once I believed that love could last forever, but now that feeling's not the same.
Now on the left side of the bus is still Music Village. On the right is the old neighborhood. Neighborhood on the right is from the 1950s, 1960s. All those houses have been stripped down and put back together.
Nothing matters.
That was a normal level off the ground. Like houses built like that in the 50s and 60s, just still in the street flooded. Live it off the ground.
Such is life.
Now each house that they searched, looking for bodies, they spray paint the marks on the house. The day they searched it, who searched it and what they found. I'll show you an example in the second one right.
Yes, it simply wasn't
Look on the right, that shotgun house.
meant to
See the spray paint mark that says 9/12, September 12th, when they searched it. It was searched by TFW, which is Texas Fort Worth National Guard. At the bottom it says 0, they found the body dead. One tile on the left. This guy was one of the largest Ford and Lincoln dealerships on the left. So you can keep a Ford and Lincoln in his front yard by advertising, got the SUV Lincoln on the front yard. And, now keep in mind, he does not drive a Ford or Lincoln. He actually drives a Mercedes. You don't believe me? Look on the side of the house and the drive on the side. He don't park Mercedes on the side of the house. To the drive on the left. So the question is, when has he drove a Ford lately? But he's a good guy. Does a lot of charity work around the city of New Orleans, helping as many people as can. And all these nice mansions were flooded by the storm. Now look on the left, and that's your new backyard. To the levee, that's your new backyard now. So next to our right, says a house that they're knocking down the building to replace it with another one. Because some of them are messed up so bad they knock them down and build another one. Remember, it's been 15 years since Katrina. See on the right, that was a nice house. It looked nice, but they tore it down. So they'll build another one to replace it. Now get to the top of this ridge, look left and right. Then close these two metal gates that'll block the storm surge from the residential. Then you come on the lake for recreation. So they close these two gates that'll block the storm surge. Now you come on the lake for recreation. Here's another one of your drainage canals on my right. And you're gonna see that building to your right, that's a pumping station to pump the water out of the city. That's a pumping station right there. Now you can fish out here. People catch, you can get blue crabs, shrimp, speckled trout, catfish out this lake. Across the levee to my right is the University of New Orleans. That's the dormitories on the right. Now if you got a third floor dorm, you should lake from the third floor. Like I said, old levees were 9, new levees are 17. Now, probably about in the next 10 more years, you'll be adding more height to those levees. It's all nice along the lake. Everything kind of fits in the neighborhood. If you look straight ahead there toward our right, that's a new police station for the area. The old building was damaged by the storm. Now look at the police station. If I didn't tell you that was a police station, it looks more like a welcome center, right? Matter of fact, it looked like Cracker Barrel. You don't mind stopping and get something to eat. You don't mind asking a question in a place like that. That's your new police station. It'll take place at the old one that was damaged by the storm. This building on the corner to my left, that's a new museum they opened up last year, called the Free People Color Museum. Opened it up last year. One of your public schools on the left. Now we're going to leave Treme. The next thing we're going to is be called Bayu St. John. Bayu St. John. We're going to notice when you get in Bayu St. John, the houses are laid out a very unique way. In Bayu St. John, you're sitting on your porch or your balcony, and as a breeze coming off the lake, one neighbor does not block the next breeze off the lake. So I look on both sides of the street in a second, but the houses are slanted where you're not blocking neighbor. Look down this first street to my left. See everything's on an angle? So you're sitting on your porch or balcony, and as a breeze come off the lake, one neighbor does not block the next neighbor. I look on both sides. So how is it set up? Sitting on your porch or balcony. As a breeze come off the lake, you're not blocking neighbor not blocking you. So kind of give you an idea that we were good neighbors before State Farm was. So next is going to be our cemetery stop, which is St. Louis number 3. St. Louis number 3 is the largest of the Catholic cemeteries. The cemetery is 13 acres of land. New Orleans got a little bit over 40 cemeteries, a little bit over 40. We mainly buried above the ground because of the water. You know, back in the days, they buried coffins in the ground. It rains a lot; those coffins will pop back up to the surface. So that's kind of how we start burying above the ground. Today, if you bury somebody in the ground, today you have to bury them called a vault. A vault is a concrete box you put in the ground first, and the coffin has to go inside the vault with a lid on top, keep them popping back up. Also, we talk about the people that die from yellow fever. There's a law came called the year and a day rule, which means that if somebody's buried inside your family tomb, you can open up the tomb and bury the next person for at least 1 year and 1 day has to pass. After 1 year and 1 day, your body's decomposed. The concern was that you open the tomb up less than 1 year and 1 day after somebody's buried inside, the yellow fever would spread. Today, the same rule applies today, but in my opinion, it has nothing to do with diseases. That more to the cemetery making extra money. So if somebody died less than that 1 year and 1 day, is a temporary wall to make you spend some money on for the 1 year and 1 day. I look down the street to my right, you're gonna see the fairgrounds, a horse race track where they hold a jazz fest. Down to your right there. That's a horse track. Now horse racing will start Thanksgiving Day until April. From Thanksgiving Day to April is a horse racing season. Also keep in mind, this is a Catholic cemetery. At one time, the people, those of the Catholic faith at one time did not cremate. So keep in mind, cremation was not an option back in the 1800s.
So,
about watch the stuff getting out. Be very careful walking through the grass. A lot of times people walk their dogs out here. Man, I clean up behind them, so watch yourself walk through the grass. And we're gonna walk.